Miami's hot, 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 fire. Miami's hot, 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 fire. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And we are back for another episode of The Real Housewives of Miami. And this is season, I want to say, hold on. I got you guys. Hold on. Season 7, episode 16. And this is called The Art of Arguing. And this was a really, really good episode. But one thing that I was slightly disappointed by, and it's not because I don't like the show, but I thought I was just going to get a little bit of a break because now we are about to get a lot of Housewives shows. And the timing of it, when it comes to all the things I have going on, is not, really great. I thought we were going to get a break soon. So we actually have one more episode, I think, after this episode. So the next episode, I believe, is the season finale. And then the 3-part reunion. Because we already know they're going to get 3 parts. Because they've been eating. Leaving no crumbs behind. And so I'm like, oh, man. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the episode. So the episode first starts with a little bit of a Housewives montage. Where we have Larsa moving out of her penthouse that she has had since like the reboot basically, and she's moving into her first home that she's purchased, but we're only seeing her moving her art out and stuff like that. And then after that, then in another part of the montage, we see that Lisa and Jody are going, or I guess they're going golfing or whatever, and Lisa's like had just flies away because it's so windy and it's like kind of comical, and they seem like they're having a great time, and that's what we see with this preview when it comes to that. But then we end up doing our first scene, and our first scene actually is with Adriana. And Adriana has an exhibit. She's hosting an exhibit for Art Basel. And Art Basel, they're kind of explaining how like that's a big deal, that's a thing. And for those who don't know, who are kind of new, because Adriana's a friend of, so those who have not seen the original show, she's really into art. Like that's her thing. I think she's like an art curator basically. So that's kind of what she does behind the scenes. And so this is right up her alley. She's just brilliant like that. And so we find out that she's going to be hosting a Great Britain artist by the name of Chris Rivers, and she's going to help feature his art for Art Basel. And then she kind of explains, after we do the art stuff during the day, of course with it being Miami, they party afterwards. So that's kind of what she explained. And so we kind of get a little bit of feel of what's going on when it comes to what the show's going to be about this episode. It's going to be Adriana's it's going to be basically Adriana's event this episode. Okay, so then the next thing we see that Kiki is modeling with her dad. I don't know how I feel about these things with Kiki and her dad, because it seems like her dad's just being an opportunist and never really did own up for anything he did wrong when, as in like abandoning her. Like he's like, because he never did apologize for that last episode, but he also looks like he's proud at the same time of her accomplishments and whatnot. But I don't know if he's proud because of what she's doing, or proud because she's supporting him. Basically, she is supporting the whole family, the mom and the dad. So it just makes me kind of look at things a little interesting when it comes to this. But basically, this whole entire time, we see her basically doing this modeling gig, and of course, she looks gorgeous like she always does. But then her dad's just like taking all these pictures of her on the camera, and he does look proud, but I'm questioning the why. But maybe I might be wrong, I might be out of turn, because when it comes to leaving your kids behind and stuff, especially when it comes to Caribbean culture, I don't quite understand all that. So let me just, I'm just going to be fully transparent on that. So if, you guys know a little bit more, that can help explain why maybe I'm overreacting, but I'm just kind of looking at this like, okay. But anyway, that's it when it comes to this scene next. Okay, so then this next scene, we see Larsa is finally, for the most part, moved in at her place. We find out that her place is not completely done yet. The only room in her place is completely done is the kitchen. And the place does look gorgeous. It looks like once everything is all set up, things are going to be great. And she's basically going to be staying in a house that is construction site the whole entire time. And one of the producers asked her, did she stay within budget? And she was like, oh, God, no. And we find out that this place that she purchased was $5.7 million. I was like, wow. And so she basically has like a slumber party. And so she invites Stephanie and Alexia, and they both show up. And we find out then once they both show up, and both of them are just like, oh, okay. I think Alexia was just happy for Larsa, period. But then Stephanie was just like, I didn't realize you were going to be staying at a construction site, because this is a construction site. And so, but it is what it is, because we know earlier on the season, Stephanie's house is getting worked on too. So it just, I guess it works out. But anyway, we find out then when they're catching up that Larsa has such a big place because she wants her kids to be able to come when they're done. So I guess all the kids who are still in school basically go to, they live in Los Angeles full time. So, and we kind of already knew, for those who didn't know, Larsa lives in Los Angeles still full time, and she basically only lives in Miami for the show. Like, she has multiple homes. Like, I don't think it's just for the show, but Larsa lives in multiple places. You know, if you could do that, you could do that. So that's kind of what it is. And I think that, I don't know if that's where Scottie Pippen lives. Does he live in LA? And that's why they're in LA. Anyway, she's basically kind of giving an update that like she wants her kids to be able to come and all that good stuff. And that's that on that. And then we get to the subject of Alexia and Todd. Alexia and Todd are basically still seeing each other at this point. And Larsa's like, so when is that cutoff time about when, you know, the last day the divorce can be extended? And, you know, Alexia's like, in a couple of days or whatever. And Larsa just is straight up with her, no chasers, like, he's going to end up playing you. And I think Alexia realizes that based off of, you know, she's like, yeah. And I do appreciate Stephanie finally let the mouse go of overly projecting. This was a little bit more of a Nautica Stephanie, if you will. And she was just kind of like, okay, well, she's like, but in the confessional, and I'm sure all of them thought this, and they even talked about it during the after show, it's sad that Alexia is letting this person have 100% control of how things go. She is leaving everything up to him. And, you know, even Stephanie and during the after show, and I don't think she was saying it to be shady. I think she was really saying it just for a fact that, like, I really wish she had a better self-esteem about herself, because it's giving her self-esteem isn't the best. And I think that's partly that, but I think it's also, if you know the history of Alexia's marriages, would you have the most confidence? Yeah. Also, too, I think I've said this before, Alexia is definitely, to me, she's giving a Cuban Teresa Giudice. To me, they're the same person. Like, this is an example, like, man, they're kind of the same person to me, based on how they view men and their relationships, and it is what it is. But yeah, anyway, that's kind of it when it comes to this scene. Moving on. Now, I almost skipped this scene, and the reason why I literally almost skipped this scene is because this is a Julia scene with Martina. And everything to me that Julia does, especially when it comes to the boys, comes off as super performative and not real. She's not a good actress. So I wanted to skip the scene, but then we got some tea. So we're still talking about Julia and her daughter's not talking to her. And based off of how Martina's reacting to this versus how Julia's acting to this, they didn't get the same script. AKA Julia did not clue Martina in. I feel like Martina is basically exposing more of the truth of what's really going on based off of how Martina's reacting. And Julia's still trying to play in her face. And what I'm going to say here, what I noticed right away is that it's giving that her daughter's never effed with Julia for real. And that her children were never, her girls were never in her life like that. Based off of how Martina's acting. And basically Julia's trying to make it sound like it's not. Like basically they were one big happy family prior to this adoption situation. But we already knew based off of how Julia's been behaving this season, and I kind of already kind of called it out that I thought that this was more of what was really going on, that those girls never fooled with her like that because of her behavior, like because the way she behaves on the show is telling of how she would behave in real life. She's very much about self, and she comes off as a major social climber, and so I'm questioning things with that. So Martina's response tells me more than what I think they wanted me to know. But Martina, I think what it is, what I'm finding out, Martina knows who this person is, but she doesn't care. Because I don't know, based off of Martina's history, do we think she's the greatest person ever? Other than her just being a decent tennis player? Back in the day? Keyword is back in the day. Which is why she always hated on Venus and Serena. Because both of them were better than her. Yeah, I'm never gonna forget. Never forget. Pepperidge Farm remembers, and so do I. But anyway, I'm always gonna keep my foot on her neck when it comes to all that. Neither here nor there. So that's the only reason why I was like, oh. So I'm glad I didn't speed through this scene, but I just kind of wanted to call that out. Anyway, next. So, side note, I probably should mention this. I think you probably would have got it last episode. Clearly, this is being filmed kind of around the holidays. And so, now, then the next scene, we see Jody, Lisa, and her kids basically doing some holiday photos. And then after that, then she let the kids be. I think they might have had her nanny or something there because she clearly had some help. And they went off to have some adult time and talk about things. And in the confessional was telling to me, Lisa was like, I'm so glad for Jody, this, that, and this. And she's like, and this is kind of an idea of a family that I've always wanted. And so I know we make fun of Lisa for being very dense and kind of vain and very one-sided when it comes to things and being someone who really wants to be kept. I really hope she's going to therapy, but I think this has a lot to do with like her lack of family that she felt just because her dad wasn't really, around the way she probably was expecting or was needing for herself in her life. And so to me, this is telling of how and why she behaves she does when it comes to men. And so when she said family, I was like, oh, it has nothing to do with like the keptness. She really is seeking family. It's a deeper issue here. So I kind of wanted to call that out. I feel like we all kind of overlook past it because she's so she has dense moments, but we're seeing that the word of family that I hung on to that a little bit. But anyway, so they're talking. And all of a sudden, Lisa is just, I feel like, I'm just going to be so real with you. Lisa's trying to pressure Jody to propose to her. And she literally just got out of a divorce. And Jody, I'm glad he stood his ground and he basically told her truth. Like, there's always been chaos with you since we've dated. I don't think I want to be with this version of you. I was just sticking around, being patient, seeing trying to find the other side of you because I see elements of the other side of you when it's just about us, but then there's always just been drama. Can we have a moment where we don't have any drama? And Lisa's just kind of going, apologizing, saying, it's not me, this and this. And Jody also, the other thing he said I actually did appreciate, he's like, Once I want you to become an independent version of you. So I'm helping you out right now. He basically said, I'm helping you out, but I don't want that to be you forever. I want, if I was to leave, you could still be all right and not do this thing that you're doing over and over again. And then if I see you're a lot more independent, you'll get a proposal the next day. And I was like, based off of what he's saying, I don't know how they are in real life, but it's giving he really is a good guy and really does want the best for Lisa. And so, Lisa, I hope you take his advice and become an independent woman. And it seems like, from what we're seeing outside the show, it seems like she is going that direction, but it's still with his help. He basically is like, I need you to be able to do some of these things proactively without me. Because right now he basically is guiding her through how to become an independent person. But yeah, he's going to get sick of her being dependent all the time. And I get that. Because it's literally the same situation again. And if she does what she seems like she's doing, whether she's trying to or not, she hasn't learned anything yet, if that makes sense. That's, to me, is kind of what I get from Lisa. There's a part of a lesson, a major part of this lesson she still hasn't learned yet. Only thing she learned is that Lenny's no good. She didn't learn the why he's no good and what she needs to do to stop attracting that type and stop relying on men. It's great to want to feel kept, but do you really want to be kept in 2025, especially the way of the world? I personally wouldn't. But anyway, that's just me. Anyway, moving on. Okay, it's the day of the event at the Art Basel thing. And Larsa actually gets there first. And Larsa and Adriana are just talking. And Larsa immediately wastes no time. And she's like, who do you think put the number on your cake? She's trying to get to the bottom of it. She is fancy drewing it out this whole entire time. And so then shortly after that, Stephanie arrives. And then now they're both trying to figure out now who done it. And they have all these suspects and everything. They're kind of being funny about it. So not to get too ahead of myself, y'all already know who I thought it was. I was surprised when I got the answer in this episode. I was like, I did not see that coming. Put in the comments if y'all saw who it was coming. Did y'all see that that's who that was going to be? And the excuse? And do y'all buy it or not? Anyway, we'll get to it when we get to it. But then after that, so while this is happening, we have Alexia and Marisol. They're on their way to the event, and they talk about the Todd of it all. And Alexia is kind of just making it clear, like, yeah, I am trying to figure things out with Todd. I don't like your harsh opinion you're always giving to me about Todd, Marisol. And she kind of like calls her out on her being overly critical about the situation. And do y'all think do you think this argument is really about Todd, or do you think it's more about the show? I think it's about the show. Just like I think really the Todd plot is really about the show and not about Todd, really. That's just me, part of it. I think that's what it is. But especially based off of what Todd mentioned on social media. So I'm trying to kind of put the combinations of what they both said and try to figure out which is the truth. Because I'm still not quite sure. Because I don't believe Alexia all the way, but I don't necessarily believe Todd all the way either. So I think there might be truth a little bit in the middle here. So yeah. Anyway, so then finally they do end up showing up. And then Julia shows up next. And we find out while this is going on, and now they're playing the whole who done it thing, who done it thing. Kiki and Gertie are on their way there while everyone else is trying to figure out, because I think Lisa does show up then too. And so while they're doing this whole who done it thing, and Marisol and Alexia both mentioned they know who did it. but they're not going to say anything. So that doesn't really tell you that they didn't do it, but shortly after that, Gertie brings it up on the call right there, and Kiki just straight up said, yeah, no, I did it. Kiki was the one the whole entire time who put the math equation birthday number on Adriana's birthday cake. And according to Kiki, she's trying to say she was trying to make light of a dark situation because of how Adriana feels about her age. Are y'all buying that? And how many ways I can say I'm not buying that? I'm not buying that. I think Kiki was looking for a moment because she has had no moment this season. And so she decided she was going to get messy, which is against what she's normally done on this show. And the main reason why most of us used to like her on this show was the fact that she wasn't messy. But the fact that she did this was messy, especially considering the fact that Kiki was already apologized to by Adriana immediately without needing to be asked. So, and also considering the fact this whole entire time, it was very known that Adriana did not want to celebrate her birthday because of the ageism of it all. Like, this is like, that is Adriana's kryptonite. The age thing. It really bothers her. It gets to her. It's like the insults of all insults for her. And Kiki trying to make light of it. And even the fact that, and the other reason why I don't buy it is because even Kiki ran it by Alexia and Marisol, and both of them were just like, good luck with that. The fact that the bros were trying to tell you this is not a good idea, you should have went with that. She was looking for a moment. And even in the after show, she's trying to backpedal and pop. And I'm just like, girl, no. Shout out to Alexandra Rogers. I just had to say it like that. But anyway, yeah, no. She's trying to like backpedal. But like, let's be so for real. Julia and Kiki are the two liars. Like, I don't see it for either of them. So anyway, that's what happens. And so all this is happening unbeknownst to Adriana of knowing who did it. But Adriana's trying to get to the bottom of it too because she's not happy with how all that went. But in the meantime, in between time, we do meet the artist, Chris Rivers. Sorry, I was going to say Christopher. Chris Rivers. And we get some interesting, we find out that he has all this artwork, and then once everyone gets a chance to look at it, it's for sale. And Lisa, being how Lisa is, because Lisa's kind of ignorant to a certain degree, touches this man's art. You're not supposed to touch art at an art show, by the way. But she touches this man's art, and they're like, you touch it, you buy it. She buys it. Oh, also, too, while Lisa was on the way, I forgot to mention that Marisol and Alexia are making such a big deal about Lisa spending all this money to get a tree decorated and get Christmas decorations at the house. And isn't that kind of alluding to what Jody was trying to say? Because Lisa, to me, she has a little bit of mentality, especially when it comes to the finances of it all, wanting to be taken care of a child. So I think they're kind of getting on her, like, when they're going, like, kind of judging her about that, about, wow, she is not, like, responsible. But, like, Lisa's like, but I have the money and I can afford this, so I'm going to do it. So, because, really, at the end of the day, is it any of their business? It isn't. So, I don't know why they made a big deal about it, but it blew over. I'm not sure if we're going to even revisit next episode, but I just kind of wanted to call it out because I was just wondering what that was about. But anyway, so then after this, Stephanie decides she wants to talk to Marisol again. And Stephanie, you are dragging this. You are dragging this. With love, let the whole entire thing with the plane go. Why did we revisit a conversation we revisit 2 episodes yet again? And according to Stephanie, the reason why she wanted to revisit the conversation is because she talked to Alexia this time. You've already talked to Alexia. Did Alexia give you any new information? No. I mean, she did, but she didn't. But is it enough where you have to like rehash the same conversation with Marisol all over again? Do you think you're going to get a different result there? So anyway, they talk about the same thing all over again. And Marisol is just straight up saying like, girl, the way that you constantly throw money in everyone's faces is giving tacky. And I'm sorry, Marisol's right. You are coming off really annoying and tacky. You are giving very much new money. Like you ain't never seen money before. That's the attitude you're presenting, the way you're acting. Sorry, my nose is itching so bad. I don't know why it's itching. So if I keep rubbing my nose, I think I have a cat hair. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you have pets, you already know fur can just come anywhere on your face. But I think I have it on my nose and I can't get rid of it. And so that's why I just keep itching. So anyway. But what was I getting at? Yeah. So we talk about it yet again. We resolve it yet again. I honestly don't know what the purpose of this was. Moving on. So then after this, we see that Larsa is lit. Or anyway, she seems like she's having a good time. And we see a rare moment of Larsa getting along with all the girls. And honestly, this is what I like to see. Like, I like when Larsa kind of like, she's kind of giving a little lit. Because I feel like when she's kind of getting a little lit, her Timu Kardashian-ness like is not there as much. She actually is kind of showing who she is actually. And so she's sitting on Gertie and she's like, do you want another drink? She is being all overly flirty and stuff. She's like, yeah, I'll get you another drink. Yeah. She's doing all like that. And Lisa and her just hanging out and partying like, ah. And then out of nowhere, Thirst Bucket, Julia pops up. She's like, oh my gosh, I just love how you guys are so close. Oh my gosh, I just love this for you guys. And this makes me miss Adriana and I's relationship and how close we used to be. Blah, 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 blah. Even though, Julia, you're the reason why you guys are not as close. You're the one who decided to try to ice out and alienate her. But you missed this. So not Alexia, but Adriana does sit down with them then, and they're talking, and then after that, then Gertie is sitting with them too. No, not Gertie, I'm sorry. Lisa is sitting with them too, and Larsa's like, yeah, but we need to figure out who did. Larsa's not letting his mouth go figuring out who had done this cake situation, the cake game. Because I think she was trying to ask Julia, because at this moment, I forgot to mention earlier on, a lot of the ladies are thinking Julia did this. I don't know why no one thought Marisol did it other than Stephanie, but everyone else is pretty much thinking Julia. And Lisa and her big mouth was just like, dude, it was Kiki. And Larsa is shocked. And this is where we see real Larsa. Like the Larsa, Timu Larsa. Like the Larsa we can't stand. The way she threw Kiki under the bus immediately. Nah, Kiki did it. And she basically told everyone, like, yeah, Kiki did it. And like, Lisa's like, you weren't supposed to say that out loud. She's like, girl, have you met me? And she's not wrong. It's like, Lisa, have you met Larsa? Do you think she could hold water? No. So Adriana, of course, is taken aback. And immediately, the way Julia is becoming, because Julia this whole entire season has been someone's representative. She's been Alexia's representative, she's been Marisol's representative, and now she's being Kiki's representative, as if there's a reason behind why she would do something like that. And then, of course, Adriana's calling now. She's like, you're supposed to be my best friend and have my back, but yet you have this lady's back. What is this? And so now they're going back and forth, and Julia's like, you're not fun. You're not fun anymore. You're not fun anymore. That's the reason why. And then she's basically trying to play victim and say, all the things that they're saying about you is true to Alexia. Not Alexia, but Adriana. And it's like, I feel like Julia thinks we're dumb. And she thinks I feel like she thinks we're watching a different show than what we're seeing on TV. Or maybe she thought she was going to get a neat edit, because clearly she has gotten a nicer edit in the past. I don't know what this is, but it's like, girl, no. No. So they go from arguing back and forth to then out of nowhere. And I don't know what happened in between here. And I'm very confused. And hopefully we get some answers during the reunion. But it looked like they literally cut the scene by a lot. It doesn't seem like this happened right away, back to back. Because all of a sudden it seems like now Adriana is talking to her friend, who happens to be black. And now the conversation of Wretched comes up again, the Wretched Ratchet thing. And Adriana says, yeah, Kiki called me a racist. And I'm just like, how do we get from the age thing to a racist thing? I'm like, she already did the ageism thing, so why is that not enough? And so she's saying all these things like, yeah, Kiki accused me of being a racist, like, to everyone. And we see nothing. We see all the ladies just kind of looking like, huh? But they didn't really look shocked. So something happened. I'm sorry. I don't believe nothing happened. Because it was so odd. It didn't make any sense. And I don't think Adriana was like that drunk where she would just spiral like that, because she went from good to not. So it didn't really make any sense here. And then also Gertie wasn't really stopping her all the way. Like, Gertie was kind of stopping her, but then she wasn't, because then finally Kiki did try to go over there to try to patch things up, because she was trying to say I wasn't trying to be shady or anything. And then as soon as like Kiki heard that, Adriana was saying about Adriana saying that she accused her of being a racist, Kiki just did one of these and walked away and hitched a ride from like an Amazon driver. Yes, it was weird. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Everyone was like, yeah, she's gone. Like, she just took a ride from the driver and she's gone. And I was like, wow. I love how in the after show, some of the women, by some I mean majority of the women, was like, that is called throwing a rock and hiding your hand. Because most of the women are not buying, including Larsa, they're not buying Kiki's innocent, I was trying to be funny thing. No one's buying it. And so then after that, then Julia, of course, actually runs right after Kiki right away, but she's the only one that runs after Kiki and couldn't find her. And then she comes back, and then this starts yet another fight between Adriana and Julia, because she's like, she did all that to me, and now you're running after Kiki. And I'm supposed to be your best friend. And what was called out during the after show, and I feel the same way, is that what Julia expects undivided loyalty, whether she's right or wrong. But we see here she will not do the same for you. So why would Adriana has every right to be calling out Julia and her BS. And you can tell here while this is happening, Gertie has Adriana's back completely. Maybe because, Gertie's talking about this in therapy, but she's clearly not over what happened between her and Julia. She has put it aside because she mentioned her in therapy. She wasn't good with it still. So anyway, but that is kind of where the episode ends, but it was a really bizarre ending because I'm not sure how. Do y'all think Adriana just pulled all that out of nowhere? If y'all do, let me know why you feel that way. But I think that was just like a really nasty edit. And I think something may have happened outside of what she's saying. Other than Kiki looking for a moment. But anyway, that does conclude this episode of The Real Housewives of Miami. Please let me know what you think about my review. And also, in the meantime, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything on the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And I will see you next time. Bye.